Ashland, Roosevelt, and Westlake compete on the Nordson Academic Challenge. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to celebrate the 55th season of the Nordson Academic Challenge. I am Rob Powers. I'm your host, and the challenge of the show is the same as it's always been. 3 local high school teams compete for points by answering questions. We have math, science, history, a few other topics as well. Let's hear it one more time for today's teams. It's Ashland, Roosevelt, and Westlake. Each team is playing for a chance to make it onto our leaderboard. Let's take a look at the early standings so far. At the end of the season, the 3 highest scoring teams will be right back here to play for the chance to be crowned the champion of our 55th season. And they get some money too, a $6,000 grant from Nordson. We're going to get things started this morning with the lightning round. All 3 teams compete in this round. We award 20 points for a correct answer. We subtract 20 points for an incorrect or no answer. The match is going to start here with 100 points for each team. Everybody set? All your answers here begin with the letter T. T as in top. Good? Here we go. This African-American woman led 300 slaves to freedom on the underground Westlake.
Tubman.
That is correct. This is a baby frog. Roosevelt.
Tadpole.
That is correct. This country's official capital is Dodoma. Westlake.
Tanzania.
That is correct. This is another name for your femur bone. Ashland.
Tibia.
Thigh bone. This is the sign of the bull in the zodiac. Roosevelt.
Taurus.
Taurus is correct. Ti is the chemical symbol for this metal. Westlake.
Titanium.
That is correct. This mythical Greek hero killed Medusa. Roosevelt.
Theseus.
Theseus is correct. This European war lasted from 1618 to 1648. Roosevelt.
30 Years' War.
That is correct. This is one of your 5 senses. Westlake.
Touch.
Or taste, correct. And for our final lightning round question from Stan Hewitt Hall, here's Julie Fry.
Once one of the largest private homes in America, the main building at Stan Hewitt Hall is built in what style, named for the British dynasty that included Queen Elizabeth I?
Westlake. Westlake was in first.
Tudor.
Tudor is correct, and that's the end of that round. We'll be back with more of the 55th season of the Nordson Academic Challenge right after this.
Nordson is honored to sponsor a program that celebrates academic excellence. We're a global industrial technology company with a long and proud history of giving back to the communities where we live and work. We donate 5% of our U.S. pre-tax profit to charity every year. Over the past 30 years, the Nordson Corporation Foundation has donated more than $100 million, and our employees have volunteered more than 100,000 hours. And now, we're pleased to support the legacy of Academic Challenge. Thank you all for watching, and the best of luck to all the participants.
Here we go. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. If you'd like more information about any of the schools that appear this season, you can scan the QR code you see on the upper right-hand corner of your screen with your cell phone. That code takes you to news5cleveland.com's Academic Challenge page. We've got links for all of this season's school websites right there. All right, time for us now to play the Hot Picks round. One at a time, I ask each team 8 questions. Correct response here is worth 20 points, no penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 8 questions correctly will receive 25 bonus points. But before we get to the questions, let's meet our players. Ashland High School, Logan, you're the captain. Tell us about Logan.
I am a junior, and I play percussion in our marching band.
Awesome. Welcome, Logan. Hi, Jacob.
I am a junior, and I play percussion in our marching band.
Wow. Wow. First Pete, then repeat. Jaden, you're up.
I am a junior, and I play percussion in our marching band.
Is this a prerequisite or something at Ashland? That's great. Welcome, guys. For your questions, we go to Roosevelt's captain, Ethan. Ethan, open board here. Envelope 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Definitely 2.
2, definitely. It is the decision of the night. Ashland, these questions are just for you. Set? Here we go. When French constitutional delegates met in 1789, they took an oath named for what sort of athletic court where Coco Gauff would feel at home?
Tennis.
That is correct, the tennis court. A 15-year-old girl from Ireland was the first immigrant processed at what New York Island, once the official entry point for millions of immigrants?
Ellis.
That is correct. Your answer will be good enough. If you know that Cape Good Enough is on what continent where it's too cold for extensive development?
Antarctica.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your science question. Which of these terms refers to the innermost tissue layer of an animal embryo?
Endoderm.
That is correct. Anthropologist Thor Heyerdahl theorized that what chief Norse god might have been a real king?
Odin.
That is correct. Ernest Hemingway was clearly in peak form when he wrote The Snows of what highest peak in Africa?
Mount Kilimanjaro.
That is correct. Back to the monitor. Here is your math question. Solve for x, giving your answer as a positive integer.
$82.
82 is correct, and that was big. This one's for the bonus points. Set. It took 103 ballots before the Democrats chose John W. Davis as their 1924 presidential nominee, who promptly lost to what 30th chief executive then in the White House?
Roosevelt.
Calvin Coolidge is the answer, but Ashland, heck of a round. Way to go. Nicely done. Okay. Our second team this morning comes all the way from Kent Roosevelt. Hi, Ethan. You're the captain. Tell us about Ethan.
Hi, I'm my senior class vice president. I'm an Expedition Academy alum, and I want to shout out our advisor, Craig Foreman.
Awesome. Welcome, Ethan. Hi, Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm a senior, and I'd like to shout out our alternates, Dash, Nina, and Maddie.
Awesome. Welcome this morning. Hi, Cash.
Hi, I'm a senior. I'm a member of the National Honor Society, and I want to shout out our Roosevelt families.
Fantastic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We thank you for being here. For your questions, Roosevelt, we go to Westlake's captain, Neil. Envelope 1, 3, or 4?
3.
3. Okay, Roosevelt, these questions are just for you. All set? Here we go. In an effort to monitor the health of their crops, farmers are now using what kind of unmanned aircraft that can be Phantom or Predator?
Drone.
That is correct. In 1964, Time magazine's Man of the Year was what American civil rights leader awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his leadership?
Martin Luther King Jr.
That is correct. A group of historians chose as the most important invention of the last 1,000 years. What invention associated with Johann Gutenberg?
The printing press.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your science question. Which of these is the general name for the catalytic substances present in all living cells which make the digestion of food possible?
Enzymes.
That is correct. Since Russia had previously signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, it did not sign what other treaty that ended World War I and is named for a French palace?
The Treaty of Versailles.
That is correct. A character named Starbuck no doubt drank a lot of coffee as first mate aboard Pequod in what Herman Melville novel?
Moby Dick.
That is correct. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Ask you to evaluate this expression.
2.
2 is correct, and that was big. This is for the bonus points. In 1869, a sketch artist named Theodore Davis was hired to draw pictures of the impeachment trial of what 17th president?
Andrew Johnson.
Andrew Johnson is correct for the bonus points. There you go. Okay. Our third team this morning comes to us all the way from Westlake. Westlake High School in the house. Neil, you're the captain. What do we need to know about Neil?
I'm part of many clubs, including Marching Band and Science Olympiad, and I would like to give a shout out to our advisors, Mr. Moore and Mrs. Novak, and to our principal, Mr. Woods.
Awesome. Welcome, Neil. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Rob. I'm on the swim team, and I'd like to shout out our alternates, Manya and Rishabh, for coming out tonight.
And thank you for coming out, too. Rohit, how are you?
I'm doing well. My name is Rohit. I play tennis, and I'd like to thank everybody who came out to support us today, including Mr. and Mrs. Backus.
There you go. All right, Westlake High School in the house. For your questions, Westlake, we come to Logan from Ashland. Logan, we're left with envelope 1 or 4?
Envelope 4.
4. Westlake, these are all yours. All set? Here we go. What celestial body that has a moon named Nix was itself nixed as our 9th planet because of its small size?
Pluto.
That is correct. Climate change may be the reason for the shrinking size of what aquatic mammals that come in humpback and blue varieties?
Whale.
Of course it is. Although it sounds like an audio test for dogs, the barking level is actually a section of what English river that flows through London?
Thames.
Thames is correct. To the monitor, here's your science question. If you discovered an invertebrate that had a soft body protected by an outside shell, you would know that it most likely belonged to what phylum?
Mollusca?
That is correct. The Battle of Bull Run was in Virginia, but the 1781 Battle of Cowpens was fought in what southern state whose capital is Columbia?
South Carolina.
That is correct. An anti-British critic might describe as so-so the just so stories of what imperialist British author who also wrote The Jungle Book?
Kipling.
That is correct. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Evaluate this expression, giving your answer as a positive integer.
30.
30 is correct, and that was big. This is for the bonus points. President Harding's cabinet appointees included what distinguished engineer who later became our 31st president?
Hoover.
Herbert Hoover is correct for the bonus points. There you go. That's a heck of a round for all three teams. Way to go. We'll be back with more academic excitement right after this. Today's judge from Cuyahoga Community College, T.U. Geddes. Thank you so much for being with us today from Cuyahoga Community College. Thanks for everything you do for us. We welcome you back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Before we start our next round, we're going to take a look at the scores so far. In third place with 220 points, the team from Ashland. In second place with 365 points, it's Kent Roosevelt. With 385 points, right now it is Westlake in the lead. But hold on. Time to go head-to-head. Once again, this is our picture-perfect round. Each correct answer here is worth 20 points, but for a wrong answer or no answer, we take away 20 points. This is for all three teams. Hands on the buzzers, eyes on the big monitor down front. All set? Here we go. This 19th century photo depicts miners in what state where gold was? Westlake.
California.
That is correct. These flamingos can be seen in what Ecuadorian islands visited by Charles Roosevelt?
Galapagos.
That is correct. This shark is named for what largest island? Westlake.
Madagascar.
Greenland. Greenland is the answer. 60% of what number is equal to 300? Westlake.
500.
500 is correct. Found in the north, this variety of butterfly is named for what Greek god of light and music, a deity? Roosevelt.
Apollo.
That is correct. These were the words of what English theoretical physicist who wrote A Brief History in Time? Roosevelt.
Stephen Hawking.
That is correct. This rainforest makes up most of what African country that was settled by freed slaves in 1822? Roosevelt.
Liberia.
That is correct. This issue of Cleveland Magazine features a conversation between former Cavs teammates Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Love. Love was born in California, but grew up in which state known as the Beaver State and whose capital is Salem? Westlake.
Oregon.
Oregon is correct, and we flew through that round. Way to go, everybody. That's a good one. Don't go anywhere. Our exciting grab bag round to determine today's winner. That's still coming up after, of course, we mix it up. Stick around. All right, welcome back. We welcome today's advisors from Ashland. It's Flory Memorial Court. From Roosevelt, Craig Foreman is here this morning. And from Westlake, we have Kristen Novak and Ray Moore. Thank you so much, every one of you, for being with us this morning. Thank you so much. Take a seat and enjoy the rest of our game. It's time for us to mix it up one more time. I'll ask each team here 6 questions. Correct response is worth 20 points, no penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 6 questions correctly in this round will receive 25 bonus points. Ashland, you're up first. These are all yours. All set? Here we go. Forget covens and magic wands and see if you can find in the hidden name of what Roman goddess of beauty?
Venus.
That is correct. Which 2 of these words are antonyms?
Variable and stable.
That is correct. Is this right? I don't think so. Fix this statement changing just one word. What word would you change? What word would you change it to?
Change anatomy to history.
Anatomy to events. Events is the right answer. Sorry about that. This was a big day for astronomy when Sir William Herschel discovered what planet that lies between Saturn and Neptune?
Jupiter.
Uranus is the answer there. Of these 3 foreign officers who served in the American Revolution, which one spoke Polish as his native tongue?
Pulaski.
Pulaski is correct. This observation was made by statesman Edmund Burke, referring to the treatment of what French queen sent to the guillotine during the French Revolution?
Marie Antoinette.
That is correct. Nice round there, Ashland. Okie dokie. Next up in our Mix It Up round is the team from Roosevelt. Again, Roosevelt, these questions just for you. All set? Here we go. Hidden in this sentence is the name of what starchy vegetable whose failure caused a famine in Ireland in the late 1840s?
Potato.
That is correct. Which of these two are synonyms?
Audacity and sagacity.
Audacity and fearlessness. Take a look at this. I don't think that's correct. Change one word, correct the statement. What word would you change? What would you change it to?
Kimmel to Carter.
That is correct. This date marked the birth of King Robert the Bruce in what section of the British Isles whose capital is Edinburgh?
Scotland.
That is correct. His work on cathode rays in 1897 led J.J. Thomson to identify what subatomic particle that gives atoms their volume.
Quark.
The electron. The electron is the answer there. This 1836 message was the last report sent by Colonel Buck Travis, the commander at what Texas mission being besieged by the Mexican army?
Alamo.
Alamo is correct. Nice round, Roosevelt. Okie doke. Westlake, your turn. All set? Here we go. You can yell for 20 points if you find hidden here the name of what capital city of New York?
Albany.
That is correct. Of these four words, which two are opposite in meaning? Answer?
Energetic and indolent.
That is correct. This, not exactly. Change one word, make the statement accurate. What word would you change? What would you change it to?
Sneaky to 40.
That is correct. Pearl Harbor wasn't the only important event to occur on December 7th. On that date in 1787, what middle Atlantic state became the first one to sign the Constitution?
Delaware.
Delaware is correct. Which of these three bodies of water separates Greece from Turkey?
Aegean.
Aegean Sea is correct. That was big. This is for the bonus points. These were the words of what Austrian doctor whose reputation blossomed as the founder of psychoanalysis?
Freud.
Sigmund Freud is correct for the bonus points. Okay. And that is the end of that round. We'll be back with the final and deciding grab bag round. We'll do that right after this. To stay up to date with everything academic, visit us online at news5cleveland.com/academic challenge and watch full episodes on your favorite streaming device. All righty, we got a good one this morning. We welcome you back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Before we continue, we're going to recap our scores. Right now, in third place, 300 points is Ashland. In second place, 525 points is Roosevelt. Leading the way right now with 570 points is Westlake. But hold on. Time for the grab bag round. This is another free-for-all. Each correct answer here is worth 30 points, but a team will lose 30 points for a wrong or no answer. Again, this is for all three teams. Hands on the buzzer, eyes on the monitor when we need it. All set? This is it. Here we go. Back in 1789, the U.S. senators were paid how many dollars a day equal to the number of years in a senator's term? Roosevelt.
6.
6 is correct. During the War of 1812, the White House was burned by the British in retaliation for the Americans' burning of what city, now Canada's largest? Westlake.
Quebec.
Toronto. Toronto is the answer. The NCAA paid over $17 million to protect its trademark on what two-word term that could be defined as spring insanity? Westlake.
March Madness.
That is correct. Dolly Madison looks quite regal in this painting by what same artist whose painting of George Washington is on our $1 bill? Answer is Gilbert Stuart. Choice, how many electrons are there in the outer shell of potassium? 1, 7, or 0? Ashland.
1.
1 is correct. The Roman general Scipio was given what special Latin surname after his victory over Carthage at the Battle of Zama in 2 302 BC? Answer is Africanus. Among the many Americans Alexis de Tocqueville met during his travels was what man who later became the first governor of Texas? Roosevelt.
Austin.
Sam Houston. Houston is the answer. Abraham Lincoln made this sarcastic comment about his wife's family. What clan that did indeed have 2 D's in its last name? Westlake.
Todd.
Todd is correct. What English courtier is said to have made a lasting impression when he spread his cloak over a mud puddle so Queen Elizabeth I would not get her feet wet? Answer, Sir Walter Raleigh. Given that the Earth turns 360 degrees on its axis in 20, that's our final buzzer. We go right to the scoreboard right now. In third place this morning with 330 points is the team from Ashland. In second place with 525 points, the team from Kent Roosevelt. And the winner of today's academic challenge with 600 points, it's Westlake. Good job. Good game to every one of you. And you, be sure to join us next time. We'll feature teams from Berkshire, Geneva, and Talmadge. Thanks for watching this one. I'm Rob Powers, and we'll see you right back here next week.